Hello, I'm Audit, Assistant Professor from Gargi Memorial Institute of Technology. In our video lecture, continuous video lecture, we try to cover the curriculum according to the MACOUT syllabus. So, in this lecture, because we all know that if you are all of you see my video, we are right now try to understand what is magnetization and magnetic material. So, in this lecture, we are trying to find out the what is ferromagnetic material. Okay, so in our previous lecture we already established some theory according to the diamagnetic material and paramagnetic material. Okay, so in this lecture, ferromagnetic material. Okay, now what is ferromagnetic material? We all know the graphical representation according to the ferromagnetic material. For the ferromagnetic material with respect to magnetic intensity with magnetization is like that. Okay, this is the basic characteristics of the ferromagnetic material. So now what is ferromagnetic material? Ferromagnetic material, when you put some external strong magnetic force, the ferromagnetic material behave like a magnet. That because the ferromagnetic material already have the permanent magnetic dipole moment. Is it clear? That means the outermost electrons of the ferromagnetic atom, those atoms are already produce the dipole moment. Those material does not need the external magnetic field, because those material already have such a type of property that those material can behave like a magnet. Okay, and such type of material is known as ferromagnetic material. And the susceptibility of the ferromagnetic material always very much high than 1. That means we all know that for the paramagnetic material it is greater than 1, but not much more than 1. Very much. I think the value of the Xim for the ferromagnetic material is very much higher than the diamagnetic material. This is for the paramagnetic material. This is for the paramagnetic material. So in the case of the ferromagnetic material, the Xim value, the magnetic susceptibility of the material is very much high, as well as the relative permeability of the material is also very much high. Is it clear for everyone? So this is actually 0, greater than 0. That means Xim value for the paramagnetic material is positive, not very much high. But in the case of the ferromagnetic material, the material is the Xim value is very high and positive. Obviously the value is positive, but the susceptibility of the ferromagnetic material varies with respect to the temperature, is very much complex. Okay, in our previous lecture we tried to establish the Xim versus T for the paramagnetic material is like that. This is a normal diagram of when you temperature versus Xim, when you increase the temperature, because it is inversely proportional. So it is a basic general phenomena, basic general graph analysis. So it is easily analyzable. Okay, but in the case of the ferromagnetic material, the susceptibility increase with respect to temperature is very much complex. Okay, and according to the field theory of ferromagnetism, says that at a certain temperature, at certain temperature, the ferromagnetic material behave like a paramagnetic material. That means those material already have the magnetic moment those material does not have such type of property, because at certain temperature the ferromagnetic property is vanished, and that certain temperature is known as Curie temperature. Clear? Now how it is work. So in a ferromagnetic material, generally this ferromagnetic material contain a very small region, contain small region is called domain. Okay, now what is that? Because I am already told you that those material already have a magnetic moment. So that means, suppose this is the volume, this is a material. If you divided this material in a very small volume, we get a small volume, and this small volume is known as a domain, because in this volume some magnetic moment is generated. Is it clear? So this smallest volume is called domain, and this theorem is also known as this analytical theorem is known as domain theory. Okay, so domain is very according to the domain theory, the domain is very small region of the material, very small region according to the volume of the material. It's approximately 10 to the power minus 8 meter cube. This is the volume of any domain. So is it clear that from this value we can easily understand that how much small is that volume we consider in the material, and this volume is act as a magnetic dipole moment. So this one is called domain. Okay, so according to the domain theory, so suppose I am drawing here a fourth domain. Every domain consists a specific dipole moment. This is the intrinsic property of the ferromagnetic material. Okay, so this is the basic domain theory. When we enact some external magnetic field in that material, due to this external magnetic field, this dominized magnetic movement is oriented according to the magnetic field. Okay, so we can say that for a very strong magnetic field, all magnetic movement are directed according to the magnetic field, and this one is called external magnetization, because those material already have dipoles, so already those material have a magnetization value. But when you immerse this external magnetic field, so this magnetization added with some value and then produce the total magnetization. Is it clear? This is the intrinsic magnetization. It is generated by the external magnetic field. So for the analysis of this whole theorem, we try to develop an expression by the theory of this theory. Name of this theory is Weiss molecular field theory. Weiss molecular field theory. Clear? Again, same thing, we try to develop this value from this mathematical expression. So suppose the material according to the Wien's molecular theory. So M is the magnetization of the material, and here I can rewrite that lambda m is the molecular field. So the, and B is the external magnetic field. Is it clear? So the basically the effective magnetic field can be written as a B plus lambda mu. Lambda is a quantity, is substituted the unit of the mu to magnetic field unit. Okay. So and we have from the paramagnetic theorem, we have from the paramagnetic theorem, mu is equal to n mu m square b by 3 k t. This is the magnetization for the paramagnetic material. So now this is this m. Okay, so this m is generated by the, in a material, by the external magnetic field. Okay, so we can rewrite that the B effective so this is m prime. Okay, B effective, m prime. Okay, no, okay, no, m is equal to n mu m square by 3 kt. We can rewrite B is a B effective because after the addition of this external magnetic field, this total field actually affected on the material. So that's why we just substitute the V to B affected, because we are just enact this B external magnetic field towards the magnetic material, but after the addition with the internal magnetization value, this is the total effective, this is now the total affecting magnetic field. So this affecting magnetic field actually acted on the material, so we just substitute the B to B affected. Now just put the value n mu m square by 3 kt into B plus lambda m. Clear? Okay. Or m is equal to n mu m square b by 3 kt plus n mu m square lambda m by 3 kt. Now this term has a m and this term also has a m. So we try to separate the m from the total expression. N mu m square lambda m by 3 kt is equal to n mu m square b by 3 kt, or m is equal to 1 minus n mu m square into lambda by 3 kt equal to n mu m square b by 3 kt. Okay, and m can also be written as n mu m square lambda by 3 kt into n mu m square into mu 0 b by 3 kt, where mu 0 h, sorry, because we know that b is equal to mu 0 h. So now m by h is equal to n mu m square mu 0 by 3kt into 1 by 1 minus n mu m square by lambda 3kt. Okay, so this is the value of the xi m, n mu m square mu 0 by 3k whole divided by t into 1 minus n mu m square by lambda into 3kt, or n mu m square mu 0 by 3k whole divided by, just multiply the t in the box, so you get n mu m square lambda by 3k. Now we can rewrite this expression in terms of c by t minus t c. Okay, where c is equal to n mu m square mu 0 by 3k and tc is equal to n mu m square by lambda by 3k. This is the actual expression, or the known as Curie-Weiss law. Now what is the significance of this theorem, where we have find that this value c and the tc. Now this tc is called ferromagnetic Curie temperature. Okay, so this value is called Curie magnetic temperature. That means this is the external temperature and this is the Curie temperature. For this theorem says that after the temperature Tc, the ferromagnetic material just behave like a paramagnetic material. Okay, I am trying to explain through the graphical representation. So this is the graphical representation of xi m. This is the axis of t, this is axis of xi m, and this value is known as Tc, Curie temperature. So this value, this one is so the expression is c by t minus Tc. So this expression shows that when the value of the t is greater than Tc, the spontaneous magnetization is vanished. The spontaneous spontaneous magnetization is vanished. That means when the temperature of the material is greater than the Curie temperature, because the expression of the Curie temperature is n, number of molecules per unit volume, mu m, magnetic dipole moment of the material, lambda is the intrinsic constant of the material, and by 3k, k is the Boltzmann constant. So this whole value is constant for the specific material, because lambda is depend on the material, mu m is also depend on the material, n is constant, k is constant. So for the specific material, the Tc value is constant. When you enact a material greater than the temperature of Tc, then the material does not have the ferromagnetic property. That means the spontaneous magnetization is vanished. That means the magnetic property of the material is vanished, and that material now behave like a normal paramagnetic material, just like aluminium, just like gold, like that. Because we all know that the ferromagnetic material have magnetic property, and the example like iron, nickel, steel, cobalt. So those material of the magnetic already have a magnetic property. In the influence of the external magnetic field, those materials behave like a magnet. When you put the any of the material in the greater than the temperature of the Curie temperature of that specific material, you put this suppose iron in a greater temperature than the Curie temperature, and this Curie temperature is dependent on the magnetic material of iron, because all value is related to that material. Okay, so this is the first condition of the Curie temperature. Okay, now the second condition, when the value T is less than Tc, it shows that the magnetic susceptibility is become negative, and the Curie-Weiss law not applicable, because in the absence of the external magnetic field, the ferromagnetic material get magnetized. That means in the lower temperature than the Curie temperature, those ferromagnetic material actually behave like a magnet, that their usual property. Okay, and when the value of T is equal to Tc at that temperature, the magnetic susceptibility approach to infinity. The magnetic material, the susceptibility almost approach to the infinity. Clear? So this is the behavioral graph of the magnetization. This is the magnetic intensity of the magnetization. Suppose this is the certain value. When increase the magnetic intensity from the outside, those material, the internal dipoles of the material is easily magnetized in the influence of the small value of the magnetic field. But after the certain value of the magnetic field, the whole number of domain is organized, or all dipole are produce, all atom are already produce a dipole moment. That means there is no atoms or the molecules are left to get the extra magnetic field and producing a extra magnetic dipole moment. So this is become saturated. At a certain value of the magnetic field, the magnetization is become constant. Clear? This is the basic behavioral of the magnetization. The variation of the susceptibility versus Zyme is not, and this area is also known as the complex behavior place, because in this temperature the magnetic material is behave like a diamagnetic property. So this is the basic thing of the ferromagnetic material. Rather than the diamagnetism, paramagnetism and ferromagnetism, there is some molecules are available in our nature. Those molecules or those material does not behave like a paramagnetic, diamagnetic or ferromagnetic. So that's why we divided that material in another two way. One is called anti-ferromagnetic material. So that means antiferromagnetic materials mean in the influence of the external magnetic field, this is behave like a non-magnet. In the influence of the magnetic field, this is behave like a non-magnet. Okay, and another one is called ferrimagnetic material. Ferrimagnetic material. So we will discuss those two in our next lecture, and we try to also understand the another property of the ferromagnetic material is known as hysteresis. Hysteresis. So this is the actual graph we all are already study in our very junior classes in 11-12. This is the actual hysteresis graph. This is the magnetic intensity versus magnetic field. Okay, so in the next lecture we try to understand the hysteresis and the antiferromagnetic material and ferrimagnetic material. So this is the end of our today's content. So revise that what we are studying in this lecture. First of all, in this lecture we try to understand the what is ferromagnetic material, what is the property of the ferromagnetic material, what are graphical representation of the ferromagnetic material. It is like that. This is the ferromagnetic material, this one is a paramagnetic material, and this one is a diamagnetic material property with respect to H versus M. Then we try to understand the domain theory. What is domain theory? What is the volume of the actual every domain? Then we try to develop a theory according to the ferromagnetic material, and the name of the theory is Weiss molecular field theory. That's from the established of this theory, construction of this theory. We get the value of the magnetization of the material as a M. So the total molecular field. This field is generated by the internal molecules, which producing a dipole. Those dipole can also produce a magnetic moment, magnetic field, and those magnetic field is known as molecular field, because this is the external field. Some molecules producing a dipole, magnetic dipole. So this magnetic dipole has some certain amount of producing a certain amount of magnetic field, and this magnetic field represented by the lambda into M, magnetization into a certain value, and this field is known as molecular field. So the total effective magnetic field is external field plus the internal molecular field. Then we substitute this value in the we getting from the paramagnetic material. This expression of the magnetization we getting from the paramagnetic theory. We just put the value in the B in replaced by the B plus lambda M. Then try to just simplify it, and then just simplified this expression and getting the value of the M after the simplification, and divided the M by the H and get the value of the psi M. Then we get so two constant value in here, because those two value is a constant. N is constant, mu M is constant, mu 0 is constant, K is constant. In here N, M, mu M, K is constant, and lambda is also constant, because lambda is the depend on the material. Then the substitution the value of these two constants, we getting this three term. This is the variable of the xi m. Actually xi m is a function of T here. Then I try to understand what's the condition of the T minus Tc. Tc is known as Curie temperature. And this mathematical expression is also known as a Curie-Weiss law for the ferromagnetic material. Okay. Then we try to analyze some graphical representation. Okay. So this is the end of our today's video. So maybe next day we are completed this chapter according to our MACOUT syllabus, magnetic property of material. I think that is enough for today. Another thing is then always remind the example of the specific materials for the diamagnetic example, paramagnetic example, and ferromagnetic example. Okay, so thank you.